Next one, GeoForAll. Charlie will tell us something before about GeoForAll, because I don't know that if everybody knows what GeoForAll is, and then something also about the app. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, wonderful.
Well, thank you, Maria. And I got to say, I mean, just that whole mapping party stuff, the app stuff, and then just what happened, I'm just wowed at this. It's hard act to follow, but this is just fantastic. What's happening here. I think the innovations you've been doing with the conference, it's just terrific. There's been mentions of GeoForAll. Many of you know what that is. Actually, right now, people that consider themselves part of the GeoForAll group, will you just take a stand up? I know a lot of people have left, but let's just see who's still in the room. Okay, decent amount. I thought I'd start this out. I'm going to try to do this quickly because I know we're getting near the end of the day, but I thought I'd start this out by at least letting folks who don't really know what it is, they've heard about it, what we're really about. And I want to say right up front, this was an initiative, I'm jumping to the second bullet. This was an initiative that started, I think, around 2011 between OSGeo and ICA. And Jeff mentioned the MOU that they worked on. And I want to just give a shout out because Jeff was talking about community. And that's what we're growing here as well. That's very much overlapped with the community, the Phosphor-G and OSGeo. And I want to give a shout out to Jeff right away because he's been very active on this group, doing exactly what he was saying he's trying to do. So we really appreciate, Jeff, your leadership on that. So what we're trying to do here is build a global network of open geospatial science research, education, labs, and partners. And so I was actually struck because, Jeff, you had mentioned there's a new committee forming on open science, geoscience. So whoever that is, talk to us because we're doing it together. We'd love to continue to talk about that. There's new language we're developing about what a lab is and what a partner is. If you go to geoforall.org and you'll go to the map and you'll see a table of labs, we now have a beginning table of partners, and we're going to get some language explaining how they differ. But check that out. And the main message here is anybody who wants to join us, come on, join us. We've got some momentum going. It's really terrific. An evolutionary step for us, the other thing that's been a little puzzling is I've been the chair of the OSGeo Education Committee for some years, and GeoForAll there was a lot of activity there. So we're now kind of treating the two as one. Okay, so it really is the same deal, term for the same thing. And I think it's just an evolutionary step of the Education Committee that we've just moved toward this global education effort and science research effort. So one major component of this is making open or geospatial science and education open to all. That's really the mission that we're really pushing and driving for. And our aims, as you can read, for speed, I'm just going to go through them. Establishing research teaching opportunities in open geospatial science, building a global open access teaching and research infrastructure. That was one of the vision things we talked about in a Birds of a Feather this week, shooting for 2020. Providing worldwide learning platforms and training opportunities. And we're trying to establish true and deep and rich collaborations between academia, schools, government, industry around open geospatial science and education. So this is what we're trying to do, and we hope you guys will join us. We're seeing great models of this right now. I mean, the Whirlwind with Ron's group is a great example of this. So we've got some great things to follow. We've got a great celebration to do too. I don't know how many people have heard about this, but as in June we reached over 100 labs worldwide. And so if you go to that website, you'll see that map. And I wanted the folks in the room to stand up because I'm standing here as a member of this community. I'm just one, and I'm so grateful to be working with everybody here. But I think we're all seeing this now, that the networking effects is happening. We're now not even marketing this thing. We're having people coming to people in the group saying we want to form a lab or become a partner or something. So it's really exciting. Now getting to the awards. So education is a big part of what we're trying to do. And so this year we decided to initiate a GeoForAll Education Award. So this is our inaugural year. And we really are trying to educate, to recognize educators in the GeoForAll community who are doing important things that are moving GeoForAll in this mission that I just talked to you about. We have a team award and we have an individual award. The award process, you know, as an inaugural, we had to work through and come up with an alpha version of the award process. We formed a committee, we created a process, we then made a call for nominations in the Open Education Week last October, I believe. We have an international committee, which I'll show you the list in a second. We had been voting on those candidates by that committee, and it was a difficult decision. It was not easy. All these nominees are just fantastic and doing great things, and that's the real message we want to say here, is that everybody keep going, keep doing this stuff. I will say we had a few process bumps in this first inaugural process, so we're going to be working on that and hopefully have a little smoother process next year. I won't read the names, and it's kind of random listed here, but this is the international committee that participated. Hopefully you can read that. And I just want to give a big shout out to the committee members who put a lot of time into reviewing these nominations and working through the process and everything. So thanks to everybody on that one. So the nominees, and if you're here, stand up and be recognized. And I apologize in advance if I mispronounce names. Daniel Baldwin, Costa Rica. Dan? Yeah, we should have him on Skype. So for his course in mapping the mangroves, and one of our goals is to actually have these courses linked so people can find them on the website. Phil Davis from Del Mar. Phil's here, and he was nominated for I think most of people know, for his leadership and his tireless efforts leading the creation of the Geo Academy, and just his that and his GeoForAll leadership too. I'm sorry if I get these names mispronounced. Gianovia and Consultora. These people here from Uruguay, GVSIG. There was somebody from GVSIG here, or somebody representing. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, as you can see, so their course in English from Geographic Information Systems for Education using Open Data. So I think we should still give them a. Kurt Menke from Bird's Eye View Albuquerque for his Introduction to Open Source Web Mapping course. So Kurt, no, he's not here, I don't think. Sterling Quinn from Penn State University for his course on open web mapping. So and Sterling is not here. But if anybody knows these people, pass these claps on when you see them, okay? And Giorgio, who's here, right? He's not here. Oh, I thought for sure he'd be here. For his Polycrowd, a social network app with NASA Whirlwind. So Giorgio, so pass on the applause to him. Okay, so the nominees for the team side, stand up if anybody's here representing these teams. The Environmental Information Center from UNEP Grid Warsaw? No? For their EDU GIS Academy. The Open Source Geospatial Lab team in Zurich, Switzerland? No? For their Interactive Webs Map course. And I guess we'll do the applause at the end of this list. Shashi and Brent from University of Minnesota. Okay, for their MOOC on GPS to spatial computing. Louis, Tony, Jeremy, Alberto, and George. Anybody here from that team? Okay, for their open source summer school in the University of Girona in Spain. Ricardo, Rafael from UC Denver. I think they're here. For their PostgreSQL, PostGIS course materials. Raquel and Rosario and George? From, nope, okay, it's for their GVSIG education. And then Kurt, Nate, John, Rick, and Phil for their Geo Academy development efforts. So Phil's here representing that team. Okay, so again, nominees for those here, and if you know these people, pass it on. They're all deserving. What we're going to do on the GeoForAll, we're building a Roll of Honor page where we'll have all the nominees for the year listed and linked, and so we've already told them this. Please put them in their CVs and you know that they've gotten these nominations because it's a big deal, I think. Okay, so the individual educator year award goes to, and it went to Sterling Quinn after the committee really debated about this, and he couldn't be here today, but he did, and let's see if this works. He's actually
Hello, everybody.
He's actually in Oxford finishing up a PhD or a doctoral summer school program ending today, so he couldn't make it. Okay, let me see if I can get this. Ah.
Hello, everybody at Phosphor-G Europe. 2 years ago, I was commissioned by the Penn State Online Geospatial programs to write a course about making web maps with free and open source software. And the result was Geography 585 Open Web Mapping, which teaches students how to start with raw GIS datasets and work all the way up through the stack to share them with the world through browser-based interactive web maps. And all of the lesson materials are freely visible online here through the Penn State Open Courseware Initiative. Just Google Penn State Open Web Mapping and you'll find the course. The course begins with a conceptual overview of FOSS and web services, but soon it gets into detailed software walkthroughs that will hopefully be valuable to anybody learning FOSS. The technologies covered include QGIS and the GDAL processing library for data manipulation, and then GeoServer and TileMill and OGC specifications are taught for creating web services. We also cover web-friendly data formats such as GeoJSON and KML. And then the course teaches how to use open layers for developing browser-based maps, and it dabbles in JavaScript programming to do that. Finally, there's a lesson on using crowdsourced data, and it teaches how to add and retrieve items from OpenStreetMap. So I invite you to take a look at the Open Web Mapping course materials, and I hope that you find them useful as you learn and teach FOSS. I'd like to thank the GeoForAll Educator of the Year Award Selection Committee for evaluating this course and selecting me for the award. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of your time in beautiful Italy. Thank you.
Congratulations. One of the things that Sterling said is he's made all this course content open access and available. And this is the kind of thing when we're talking about open education, we're trying to push open access, but we're also trying to move toward new derivative works and that kind of system. So anyway, it's terrific what he's done. So now turning to the, and I also, we have little awards, but I'm going to send him, it's a little crystal globe, so it's going to him. So we also have a Geo-Educational the Team Award, and that's gone to this year the Geo Academy team. So Phil is here. On behalf of that, I'd like to bring Phil up. And Patrick, do you want to come down? And I thought, I don't know if Phil had any thoughts to say, if he's, but I did have the Geo Academy here if you want to talk about that a little, but anyway, I'll turn it over to you, Phil.
Okay, thank you, Charlie. Before we start, not just have 1 minute, I would like to thank two people who have really been crucial for the GeoForAll. One would, of course, be Charlie himself, so how about a round of applause for all Charlie does? Really, none of this would happen without Professor Schweik and all the work that he does. And the second person who very few of us have seen, but everybody has read, which is Suchith. I don't have to tell you how important Suchith Arnett is to the GeoForAll. So how about a round of applause for Suchith, please? All right, so I've got a plug here for the Geo Academy. Most of you probably heard about this. I'm certainly guilty of being a spammer on social media. I realize that. But again, what we're trying to do is we're trying to bring geospatial education to as many people globally as we can. If you go to the fosgeo.org website, you can link directly to the courses. The courses are populated out on the Canvas Learning Management System. It's hosted. You can share this with anybody, this link. You can sign up for the courses directly right here. They are all self-directed, obviously, since we don't pay any money. It's not a money-making operation. We can't pay instructors to teach a thing, unlike the Penn State courses. But all the material is out there and ready to use in a classroom type situation. And I'm happy to say last year we had 7,500 students go through this. So this whole process started a year ago, and we had a total of 7,500 people sign up and take one of the 5 courses, or maybe all of them. And right now we just published the second version of the courses out there with the next to the latest version of QGIS 2.8, and we've already had about 300 people sign up for it. So that's encouraging. And then the last thing I would say is, if you look a little further down the page here, if you're interested in getting the material, it's available out here. I left my glasses back there. There's a link right above it where you can get the, you can actually get the material, the classroom material directly. If you want to download that, and then also if you want the individual PowerPoints and data files, those are out on GitHub. So thank you very much.
Hang on, stay up there, please. So we wanted to give Phil an award to bring back to his team. Wow. I hope he's got.
So from one FOSS4G team to another, welcome aboard. It's not often that we have the opportunity of a CEO from one of the largest computer graphics companies in the world to have a few words to say, but Bob, if you would, please.
Well, thank you so much, Patrick, and congratulations, Phil, and congratulations to all the winners, and a special thanks to Maria for a wonderful conference. Maria, the Queen, and the Mayor, Listen, I just want to say roughly, I know something about this community. I've watched the community grow. Myself, as a member of the IT community, 15 years ago, I flipped my company from a proprietary operating system. It was a version of Unix. And I took the gamble of flipping it to a Linux company. You may know Linus Torvalds, who is the founder of the Linux community. And pretty much from that Linux experience, we have developed the open source movement that we have today because of the success. And I should say that it was a very wonderful experience tracking a large company through the transition from a proprietary software company. At that time, we had 500 software engineers moving to an open source environment. Very controversial, a lot of lawsuits, but nevertheless, we came out of it in good shape. And I noticed that my software engineers at the time found great pleasure and great pride in contributing their innovations to the open source movement. And I was very much inspired by that. Even though they were on our payroll, they were contributing to the open source movement, and it built up so much momentum up to where we are today. I should say, from that, I also, at the same time, made a second decision to transition from our own microprocessor chip, the MIPS chip, to a commercially available chip from Intel known as Itanium. Well, they are the two big decisions I made that year as a CEO. And I have to say, the first decision to Linux was a success, and the second decision to Itanium was a failure. And it hurt financially. But nevertheless, you may know Silicon Graphics as a company. Our number one customer was NASA, and we supplied most of the supercomputing and visualization to NASA. And NASA did a phenomenal job of building science visualization, as you know. But our second largest customer was Disney, and that was an entertainment customer. And what we did was we transitioned Disney know-how, which was really visual narrative, over to NASA, and we transferred physics from NASA over to Disney. And that's how we got the very scientific, physics-oriented computational fluid dynamics into entertainment. So we did that crossover, and it was a very learning experience. And I think, personally, watching all the events of the last few days here, that you will make this transition in some way as well. You will transition into building strong, data-based, scientific visual narratives, which will help decision makers and our social leaders make better decisions than they do today without that knowledge. So I think that's the path you're on. I feel that that's the path that I have been on for many, many years. And I should say as a final statement, I grew up as a meteorologist in the early 60s. My science degree is in meteorology. Okay, I will finish here. But earth science is part of meteorology. It's an evolution to oceanography, space physics, and on and on and on. So I like what you're doing. I love it. I consider it as an incremental step for society and ultimately for our better decisions. And specifically, Patrick, you did a phenomenal job. You're so committed. You're a voice for the industry, and a voice for humanity, and a voice for, I think, good common sense.
I just do what the Queen tells me.
Okay.
We want you to remember. We want you to remember this event. This one's yours. Take this home and put it somewhere where you can remember this moment.
Okay.
All right?
I will
Thank
do
you.
that. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Phil. Congrats. So I just really wanted to take one quick minute left to say three quick last items. Phil got me on the first one. So we wouldn't have been in 100 labs without this guy, and we've already clapped for him, but pass it back if you talk to him that we clapped for him, because we couldn't get him on Skype. So, and we had a logo competition. It was really vibrant. There's probably a number of people who submitted in here. Is Sylvia in the room? I was told she'd be here. Okay, well, she came up with that logo for us, and I've got a prize for her. So anyway, and then finally, everybody else has done this, but GeoForAll wanted to thank Maria too. We really wanted to get flowers for all your staff, too. The whole team, but they've each at least got one flower there. So thanks to the wonderful people in the conference. Thank you.